everyone. Welcome to the Only God podcast. We have a special guest, Blair.
Hello. Good to see you. Is this where I'm supposed to look with the camera when
Just at me.
Okay.
Yes,
Somebody
they're in
comment.
contest with me.
Okay.
I only do that in the intro, and I'm like, hey, guys. And then it's just me and you. Which is funny, guys. We've been talking about him for, I think, every podcast. Me and Jake are like, I say my therapist. So can you explain?
Which I have to correct that for the love of God.
I know.
Not that it's not, I appreciate it. It's a cool nod. But I am a life consultant, just, like a life coach, but a little bit different. So I'm not a therapist. But my mom is a therapist. And she's been a therapist for almost, let's just say, a long time.
Uh-huh.
And she's a sex addiction therapist.
Really?
So, yeah.
I did not know that.
Oh, yeah. So, sex addiction is not like, oh, I really enjoy sex.
Yeah.
It's like, I really enjoy sex and
Yeah.
I get in trouble for it. So if you have issues, give me a hit up and I'll,
Oh my gosh, that's
she's,
interesting.
She's really good, but that is a thing. Speaking of empathy, you know how there's certain people that do certain things, like I've had 100 affairs or pedophile or whatever. That is hard to have empathy for sometimes. Where you're going, I know they're people, I know they're worthy of love. She kills that.
Really?
She is like, I see them as people. I don't see what they're doing. I see, anyway.
Yeah, because everything, because everything comes from, it's not the addiction or the thing, it comes from a deeper source. And we were talking about that because I actually want to do deliverance ministry.
Really?
Yes, I was like, Freddie, I want to go and cast out demons. And
is that what I'm here for? Is that
cast them out?
Is this what you invited me on here for? Is Blair's got a lot.
No.
He's like a bus full.
No, you know what's beautiful about him is you've done deliverance ministry.
Yeah.
I want to know more about what got you to do, which by the way, it's not just normal therapy. Blair uses the Holy Spirit. And you know what's crazy? The other day you texted me, or I was texting you. You text me at the same exact time. That has happened twice. And we're not texters. I very rarely, unless it's about an appointment. But I'm like, that is so crazy.
It is crazy. You know what happens? Cool. Same thing happened with your family member that's also seeing me.
Really?
Exact same thing. It was like they were texting me just as I texted or called.
Really?
You feel that stuff when you're. I'm not saying that I'm super in the light, but when you're in the flow of the Spirit, it's just like a little nudge, right? You'll get this little tap on your shoulder, be like, you were supposed to text that person. And you go, oh yeah, I was. And then all of a sudden they're like, I was just thinking I was literally writing the email. You're like, I know.
I know.
Makes
Holy
me
Spirit.
look good. I had one person recently and they picked up the phone and I just had this instinct. I'm like, what ski lodge are you at? Or what ski resort are you at? Right? And he
no
goes,
way.
What are you talking? Did I tell you I was going to Colorado? I'm like, I could feel it. I don't know how to explain.
I was on the slope with you.
Yeah, exactly.
I can feel the cold. I'm cold right now.
The wave. But you just know, you know things instinctually or intuitively.
And make sure your mic is.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, let's keep
it has to be really close.
I know.
I forgot to tell you that before.
I want to cover my face because I'm vain.
Okay, no, you're good. They told me you have to keep it right up here.
Okay, sorry. Well, I hope we caught the first part.
No, you're good.
Yeah, well, so that's kind of fun stuff. And you're talking about the client thing. So I go into it with a very, I don't want to say different perspective, but I always go I'm not the healer, but I know the healer.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'll be like, God, if I am not going to try to heal this person, but if you want to show up and you want to heal them, I would love to be a part of whatever you're doing. And it just releases all the pressure and responsibility from my shoulder. I don't have to fix them, understand them, or heal them, or transform. I'm just thinking, hey, I'm a vessel, and I want to flow where you're going.
That's beautiful. That's where I want to be. That's why, when I've given up OnlyFans and I've given up even social media, I feel kind of torn right now. I'm just like, oh, what am I doing? But to be honest, I just want to be. Right now, I'm just trying to listen to the Holy Spirit, and every day, every minute of the day, I'll start feeling that anxiety. I need to be doing this. Alicia, you got to. And it's like, no, what do you want me to do, God? And I'm telling you, it puts me in my feminine energy. It just makes life easier. And it's like, we don't know what's going to happen. I've prepared my whole life. And obviously, you know this, working with me, everything was at 20 steps ahead. I had to be in control. I had to, you know what I mean? If at the end of the day, I said, I gave my all. I gave my all. It was like this out of my own strength my whole life. And so now I'm at this point in my life where I'm like, I don't want to be I want to be a hippie without the weed, without the drugs. I just want to be and I'm feeling it more and more since we've worked together.
Cool.
my goodness, it's crazy. And the thing is, I've been told a lot of the things, some of the things you've told me, and like, but when you're ready, you're ready. It's
You're
like,
ready. Yeah.
it's like, people can tell you all day long, surrender. Like, I went to AA. I'm like, what the hell is surrender?
Yeah.
Like, I'm
Yeah.
like, but until you're just like so sick of fighting God, of doing it your way, like I was just, when I saw, so I called him on the phone, and I was already like, this mother chucker ain't gonna fix
Mm-hmm.
me. I was already like, I'm gonna talk to him one time. I'm gonna see about this dude. I was already like, I'm gonna break him down. He's not gonna know what to do with me. I'm too much.
Yeah.
Like I was ready to like, and he just handled me like a gentleman. And you know what I loved about him? He wasn't like, okay, you're on the clock. You know what I mean? Like you genuinely care about people. You even told me like, call me anytime. Like you genuinely have a heart, and that resonates. And like, so anyways, if you need help, if you ready, Blair is the man. I'm telling you, like, and I'm not
Thank you.
getting paid to
That
say
is
this.
so kind.
Like I'm like for real,
Yeah.
and not everyone's ready to see
No,
it.
not
And
everybody's ready. And I'll go even further because I love that you said that for one thing.
mm-hmm,
Because there's this saying, it's something like when the student is ready, the teacher arrives.
mm-hmm,
And it's true. Like
mm-hmm,
when you get to that place where you're like, I'm ready.
mm-hmm,
I don't care what it's going to take.
mm-hmm,
And I always joke with my clients, I'm like, they always come to me 9 months pregnant with their
mm-hmm,
breakthrough.
yeah,
And it's true. Like they're not ready till they're ready, but they have to be ready to go through that transition,
mm-hmm,
which is often very uncomfortable.
mm-hmm,
They have to be willing to feel things they've not been willing to feel before. They have to be willing to go places they haven't been willing to go before. And the crazy thing is everybody's designed differently. So some people are like your midwifery people or whatever, where they're like, I'm going to hold your hand. I'm going to teach you how to do this. I'm going to do whatever. And others are the long term. I'm going to help you to raise your kids. And I'm like, I'm going to lead you through the terrifying place of labor, right? Like
uh-huh.
I'm designed for the hard push, which is short term, but it's going to get out, it's going to get you from the season you're in to the season you want to be in.
Mm-hmm,
And that's the difference. And it's really,
mm-hmm,
and I love doing it.
yeah.
And that's why God brings me those people because they're like, I'm ready. I'll go wherever. And I'm like, I know.
You know the
You didn't have to
crazy.
tell me. You wouldn't be here otherwise.
And I love that because when I'm not a big crier. As actually I've cried now on this podcast. Jake is here, by the way. We love you,
That
Jake.
is, mm-hmm.
We couldn't get him in the third seat, but we see you. I love you, Jake.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Good people.
so he's seen me cry what, twice maybe on here. It's very rare, and I'll talk about some dark, deep stuff. And you even said that you said you can talk about things and you don't feel them. And I think for so much of our life, a lot of like I've had to go down to childhood where my heart was first felt like it wasn't treated right,
Mm-hmm.
and where I closed off. And I have one of the biggest hearts. But what's the persona I have on the internet? What's the persona to everybody? I don't give a F. I'm the goofy one. I'm the life of the party, which I am those things. But I put on such a front and put
Yeah.
all my efforts into
Yeah.
my career, social media, into this person that I wasn't really. And it's so, living your life where you're not truly in your God calling is so annoying.
Mm.
It's so, it's so annoying. It's like out of
Jake's like,
body.
preach.
It's like an out of body experience. You're like, if you're really a genuine person, it's hard to put on a front for so long.
Oh, it's exhausting.
Some people love it. Some people are like social media is my escape, or like,
Yeah.
this. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm to the point, I'm like, it's not an escape. Like, I want to be used by God. I want to, you know what I mean? It's not like cool to
Yeah.
be the
Well,
really
and
badass.
I think you're nailing like a bunch of different things. Like for one, you are a highly tender-hearted person, and I knew that from when you first walked in. From we first met, I'm like, yeah, she's a deep feeler, and you are. You're saying like,
Why we become addicts.
totally, and
Cover
I'm
it
like,
up.
I don't cry very much, or whatever you were saying. I'm like, that is such a load. Like you might not have cried a lot, but you are super tender when you're in your actual skin. When you're in your skin, I've seen you so warm, so emotional, so feeling things, and that's who you are. And I think the going back to the persona, we always use our strengths as our self-protections, right? So like you are an entertainer and you're a motivator and you're kind and you're energetic and all these like charismatic things, which are who you are. It's also your adaptation that was necessary for you to avoid the pain that you're experiencing, right? So they're both the same thing. But when those two things align, you go, oh wait, I can be myself, but I can be in my adapted strengths, but I can actually be authentic when I'm doing it.
Yes.
Congruency. this is my jam. Like now I get to be an entertainer, but I'm fully authentic because I'm doing it. That's the sweet spot, because we avoid, like when we're in pain and we don't have connection for our pain, we don't have safety for our pain, we have to avoid it. So we're either trying to avoid our pain or we're trying to get to connection, right? So when we're trying to do one of those two things, we actually disconnect from ourselves, and that's what creates dissonance. Dissonance being, I know that I'm this way, but I'm presenting as this. It creates a frictional energy.
Dissonance, new word.
Yeah, it's
Sounds
a good
smart
word.
using that. Dissonance.
Yeah, it's very psychological.
Dissonance. I'm so dissonant right now.
Yeah.
Having a dissonance attack.
Yeah, it creates friction. And you know that feeling. Here's a cool one for I just heard recently. So horses, apparently, they are so comfortable with all of your emotions. You can come in angry, you can come in sad, you can be in grief, you can be in happiness, you can be in joy, you can be in whatever. You know what they're not happy with? People that are disconnected from themselves.
Really?
When they're disassociated, or you're shoving all your emotions down and you're not connected to them.
That's why I hate horses. They hate me.
That is so sad. Please don't. Okay. I mean, part of what I do is working with what people say over themselves. Like,
no, I don't hate horses.
Nope, you're good with horses and they love you.
Yay, nay, nay.
And it's
no, I'm scared of them. I'm scared of them.
Yeah, and it's an energy thing, because horses are prey animals, so they have to be aware of energy. So if the energy is confused, right, it's disconnected and confused, that's not safe. So, but when it's like, hey, I'm just angry because I'm angry, that's actually a connected emotion. That's a connected state. It's okay to feel what you're feeling. That's authentic. Wow. It's not okay to suppress what you're feeling. That's confusing. Same with, my point is, same with humans. It's not just with horses.
Right.
Like my clients can show up in any energy they want to, like angry, sad, frustrated, disappointment, full of shame, anything. And I'm
crazy,
like, super crazy, colorful. But if they come in like, oh, I'm not willing to go there. I'm like, they're you can feel it. They're disconnected from themselves and unwilling to go there. That energy is very different and difficult compared to, I'm just connected to where I am, even if it's messy.
That's a tough place. And yeah, I feel like, and this was interesting because, me being on this journey with God for a while, and, me, like, I didn't feel God's love for a while. And a lot of that has to do with how I was brought up to earn love. Like, you do good, then you get loved. You're not loved with being bad. You're not loved, all these things. So my whole life I was trying to prove.
Conditional.
Right. But I would like to get your take on, like, sometimes the church, because I heard something. Huh?
You're trying to get me canceled. Why doesn't Blair speak in churches anymore? Well,
yes.
He went on this podcast and he just talked crap for a straight hour. Yeah. Let me talk about the hierarchical, patriarchal nature of the church. Well, first of all, they don't respect. No, I'm just joking with you.
No, but I think it's beautiful because I never got taught. And that's one thing what I was doing was, like, I kept running to God, like, instead of also using God to look at myself. To be like, God, like, and maybe I just had it wrong. Maybe the church has been teaching it and it just didn't click until I met you, until, like, it was time, you know what I mean? But I will say, even at church this past Sunday, they were, like, talking about, which I love my church to death, but they were like, just shut the door. And there is a very good key to that, shutting the door. But it's like, also, if you shut that door, there's still the root cause.
What are we shutting the door to?
Shut the door to sin.
To sin.
Shut the door.
To being crazy.
To pornography.
Pornography?
I don't know why I always use my fake, but just, like, shut the door to, like, which there is and it wasn't just that, because he said shut the door and then also talk to like, okay, so talking to God would be like, okay, but why am I shutting this, or why do I have this door open? And then hopefully he reveals that.
All these things are connected. Okay, want to learn
too much coffee.
You want to learn something really interesting? Whenever a client comes in, they're like, I have like 6 things I want to talk about. So they go, this. 95% of the time, there's a thread that goes throughout all of them. And it's always I'm like, there's always a theme that if you look for the thread, there's a thread that connects everything. So you were talking about deliverance. You were talking about the church shutting the door. And then you were talking about what is the church? This whole thing about authenticity, congruency. And the thread that goes between all of them is there's a difference between transformation and management. Management is when you medicate to avoid going to the area that's necessary for transformation. Shutting a door does nothing. if the room is not clean. Even the Bible verse that talks about demons and it says kicks them out, and then it's literally cleaned up the room, right? But what happens? The demons come back with seven times more powerful, right? But there's a verse in the Bible that is a curse without a cause does not alight, which basically means if the area is healed, the curse cannot land. So shutting the door does nothing unless the room is cleaned and filled.
Wow.
You have to fill the vacuum, or else it's just going to revacate. It's going to refill.
Yeah.
And that's the same with emotional healing. So you can go, I cut off pornography and I white knuckled it. I was in a men's group, and I can tell you, nobody has ever gotten free from white knuckling it, ever.
Really?
Like I've seen people go a week or two, a month, maybe 90 days or something.
I did pretty good.
Hey, good job. Oh, well, but she's speaking of willful. One of your strengths is willpower.
Yes.
And that's why you were such a great earner, because let's say hypothetically your parents weren't connected to you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we've talked about this before, but if there's a little girl and she's 5 years old and this is the dad, right? And so the little girl, is it the girl's responsibility to earn the approval and love for dad? Dad, I'm going to do what's right. I'm going to do what you're interested in. I'm going to pretend like I care about sports. And then she gets to hang out with her dad. Is that how it's supposed to be? Or is the dad supposed to get into the world of the little girl and be like, sweetheart, what do you want to do? Sweetheart, I care about how you're feeling. Sweetheart, can I take you to the pool? Do you like going to the pool? It's not my favorite, but I would love to do it if you want to do it. Is it the role of...
Made me cry.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Is it the role of the little girl to earn the dad's love?
Yeah.
Or is it the role of the dad to make the little girl feel loved?
It's crazy just to go your whole life like trying to earn something that God literally gives you. And like in this past Sunday, I was saying, oh, I'm meeting with my pastor, and I was so excited. I'm like, a girl who used to sell herself literally is meeting with a pastor who was a drug addict, is meeting with the pastor of a huge church, and she reached out to me to do it. You know what I mean?
Awesome.
And she brought up a really good things too when we talked, but it was like, and I had said this to, you know, somebody who should be happy, and it was like, I'm not saying nothing positive or negative. And I was like, whoa, like nothing like, do you know what I was doing before, you know? And I even said that, like, I was, you know, you should be proud. Like, I said, what if I'm a pastor one day? Which my podcast is where it stops, not pastor, but it was like, and then I went to church, and then I heard God was like, he's like, I'm proud of you. Like, I'm proud of you. And it's like, that's why it's so important to build that relationship with our Heavenly Father, because he will love you like everybody, like the love you're looking for in your parent, in your husband, and whatever, you can get that from him. And like, that's what I'm just now learning after a year and a half, is like accepting his love. And I had so many walls up that there was like, oh my gosh, no grace for myself. Like you said, everything was willpower. I was like gangster with willpower.
Well, why? It was so necessary for you because you were unsafe and you were looking for connection. Connection is a fundamental need. If you do not have connection, you will do anything necessary to find it. And connection takes a lot of different forms. People don't know this, but people would rather be beat than be ignored. When you're a kid, kids will act out to get punished because it's better to have negative attention than no attention.
I've heard this.
Yeah. And even going back to like what you just said about the love of the Father, you just exemplified of like, if the room is kicked out and you know the demon's kicked out and the room is empty, well, it's just going to be replaced with more powerful, you know, demons, right? But what happens when the love fills that room? It actually displaces what's inside it permanently, because lies cannot displace truth, right? And love displaces fear, but fear cannot displace love.
Wow.
So eternal substance, which is what God is and who God is, cannot be uprooted by temporary or temporal things.
Wow.
And when you get that transformation, it's permanent. That's why deliverance ministry, I'm always like, cool, as long as it has the displacing quality of something that's substantive, that's occupying the space of where it was previously, where the dark stuff was previously.
Right.
And I love...
That's why it has a very fail rate. I was talking to Daniel Adams. He's like, he goes, I wasn't... So after I got deliverance, he's like, are you really going to get out of... Like, he has a big deliverance ministry, and he's amazing. But he's like, are you sure you're going to get out of it? And he was like, well, I was surprised because He's like, about 80%, go right back to it.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, that's a big number.
Big number.
Um,
And why? Sorry, good.
Yeah, no, why? You're answering it.
Well, I think, yeah, that's a good question. Why? I think it's like anything else. They call it a recidivism rate, which is going back to what you did before, right? Addictions or whatever else. And the recidivism rate can be as high as 97% in almost every area. So, for example, obesity, you'll lose, and then 93, 94%, something like that, gain the weight back after they've lost a huge amount, right? And you go, why? You know, if people get free, how come they don't stay free? And the reason is because they don't deal with the roots. They're fighting the symptoms. And if you're fighting symptoms, you're actually pruning a tree, which actually causes the roots to go deeper. So if the roots are not healed, then all you're doing is reinforcing the dysfunction.
You're going to be all on my reel on Instagram. My Instagram with Alicia Megan is going to be Blair throughout the... Just
Well, thanks. But
1.6 million followers, Blair.
No, that's amazing. I'm excited for this, and I'm excited for you. And can I say one more little thing? This is a side note, but I think it's actually on point. I think one of, if not the most powerful evangelistic tool is emotional health. And the reason is because if we have archetypes for things like fathers that are broken or dysfunctional, like you have to earn, for example, your like willpower, and I try so hard, I will manage and I will figure it out, right? That comes from trying to avoid pain or earn love, okay? But that means that if your archetype is broken for a certain segment, like let's say fathers as an example, well, you'll project that onto God. So you're avoiding God or not wanting to become a Christian or stay a Christian is because your perspective on masculine or paternal energy is actually unsafe, neglectful, or painful. So emotional health is I expect for, let's say, dads or men to be safe and to love me and to treat me well. It opens up the filter is gone, and we naturally respond to God because that's the way we're designed.
It's in it. You know, it's wild to me. How many people, and it took me a long, I wouldn't say a long, God worked fast in my life. I've been a year out of the industry, a little over a year. So that's not, I got my first home. Like, God has worked immensely. But, like, it took me so long to get to that place. And it's some people live their whole lives thinking that, like, I have, like, the fruits of the Spirit. Like, me and Jake always joke, I'm going to get on Blair's, like, level. He's just like so at peace. Like, before I see him, I'm like, did you smoke a J? He's just high on the Holy Spirit. He's like, I'm sorry.
I wish, man.
I'm high on the Holy
Hook
Spirit.
Hook a brother up. To be honest, like, I would more, but I get really, really anxious when I smoke weed. I tried to smoke weed. I'll just tell a story because it's embarrassing, but I'll tell myself a little bit. I smoked, it wasn't even smoking weed. I was in pain because I have like a chronic head issue. Like I hurt my neck a while back and like a chronic pain, which is whatever. It is what it is. So I got off the drugs because they were messing up my stomach, right? I couldn't sleep for 2 or 3 days straight. So I'm like, I got to do something. I'm going to go get some THC. Maybe that'll knock me out. So I go to the store. It's down the street and I buy some gummies. Man, nobody told me how to take gummies. I ended up in the hospital. Literally the hospital. Because I called 911, after like, I don't know what it was, an hour or something like that, being like, bro is going to commit suicide because I can't handle this. It was so cracked out of my head. And then because they didn't come back in 5 minutes, like I called again and it was like, you have to pick. I've never been more happy than when they strapped me onto that gurney and put me in the ambulance to go to the hospital. I was like thrilled. I was like, thank you, God. And then they put me in a hospital room where it was Dora the Explorer was on the TV. It was perfect. I could not have asked for a better show. All I was doing is stop swiping. Map. As I'm trying to come out of this, and you know how many I took? 300 milligrams.
That's a lot.
It was a lot. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't feel it, so I just kept taking more.
Yeah, it takes a while to hit in.
Yeah.
That's called a green out.
Oh,
I've had a green out on a plane, and I'm like, oh, is this going to end? And I feel like I was going to throw up.
Yeah.
And then you just eventually pass out. Your girl was a pothead.
How do you pass out?
I don't think
I was gone.
If you could overdose on weed, I would have done it. To me, it was no stopping. Like
Yeah.
when people would be like, oh, I'm good at the joint, I look at them like, oh, you cannot be good. You can't get high enough. You can't. Like when people would see me, when I got off of alcohol and I was just smoking weed, people thought I was on something else.
Yeah.
Because I was so disassociated on top of the weed. That's why people use weed as like it's a cure thing. Like, no, I mean, people can use it in very small doses and props to them. But it really like, once you feel first off God's presence and the clarity of the Holy Spirit and like that high, it's like it's a dirty high. I don't know how to describe it other than
that's a great way to put it. Yeah.
it's a dirty high, like a
Yeah. It is. It's contaminated. And I think it's like a shortcut high. It's like,
yeah.
We were talking about personal and love and everything like that. But when relationships don't feel love, you'll look for an impersonal solution to a personal problem.
Mm.
So if you think about like God, if you think about agnostics and atheists like that, a lot of them will say like, I believe in the universe, I believe in energy, I believe whatever. Why? Because it's a lot safer to believe in something that's impersonal than something personal when you've been hurt by the personal.
Oh.
But they know in their gut, there's like, I know there's something out there, so I'm going to call it energy. I'm going to call it universe. I'm going to call it love. I'm going to call it any of these things because it's not threatening if it doesn't have a personality.
That's a good point.
I don't know why we were talking about that. I think I got
No, I love it. That's what I love about this. Like, we just randomly go with the flow.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
Well, you were talking about the artificial high or something like that.
Yeah.
Well, and I won't belabor this story, but I remember
during
that night when I was like really messed up and I couldn't tie any sentences together. I thought I was going to lose my mind, not a joke. And I kept hearing this whispering voice inside of me saying, if you just let go, I'll make everything be okay. If you just let go and give up God, what has he done for you? You've been in pain for 7 years. You're still unmarried. And like he was just whispering lies the whole time that I was cracked out of my brain. And I knew in that moment, like in my spirit, it was saying, if you give in, something will crack inside of you in a bad way. But this thing was seducing with everything, every promise I've ever had, that I ever wanted, right? And I could tell it was demonic, but I was so high, I didn't know how to like combat it. So all I did was say, I love you, Jesus. I love you, Jesus. I love you, Jesus. I love you, Jesus. Probably 5,000 times that night. That's the only thing. It was the anchor line, the only thing that kept me sane. And that's why I don't love weed today.
Summed up.
Yeah, people are like, you want to try? Like I'm good.
It is true. It's like a portal. And I did frog poison. I don't know if I've talked about this before.
You lick the back of a frog? Really?
Well, they do it in a different form, but yeah, they give it to you in like I don't think they burn it in a glass thing. No, it's not meth. That sounded like meth in a glass thing, and so it's so funny because
there was this giant needle, and this, the spoon was in my hand, and then
I was behind a dumpster.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this is kind of sad, but it's real. That's just a form of escape.
No, so this is when I got sober off alcohol, but I was still really thinking about my ex. I was like, oh my God, like this dude is in my brain. Like, and I kept smoking, and the smoking obviously makes you rethink. Like he was a harder addiction, I think, than the alcohol and anything else, which was a pretty strong addiction.
Yes.
But I cut it out because on my willpower, I was like, this mother effer ain't getting in my life, so I was willpowering it. And my friend was a shaman, and he was like, oh, you can try this stuff. I'm like, okay, I'm about to fight Black China. I'm nervous as hell. I'm smoking like a chimney. Like, there was so much going on after I got sober. Like, these big events happened in my life. And it's obviously God. But I was so nervous. So, like, just frazzled. Even though I was the boxer girl that had it together. Anyways, so I go to the shaman. It's funny because before I took the frog poison, he made me read this thing, right? And then he saged me. And the thing was like, to the universe, I pray for da-da-da. And I was like, to God. I kept taking the universe out because I still had such a sense of God. Yep. Even though I had no relationship with him, even though I grew up Southern Baptist, was super religious, but I could feel this connection to God, and I couldn't explain it, But it was nothing clear I could, say. And I guess kept saying, God, God, God. So then I go into this, and all of a sudden, like, the whole world is coming together. Like, it was the scariest. Like, I guess it's a form of dying. It's the closest thing to feeling like death is happening. Wow. And I'm like, okay, the world and I am coming together. Like, I am becoming dirt, and I am becoming the plants.
Yeah.
And the last thing, and the only thing I remember from this is I said, God, don't leave me.
Mm-hmm.
God, don't leave me.
Praise
The only
God.
thing I remember from that whole thing is, don't let me go, God. And
Yep.
I can remember exactly looking at the world coming down, and that's the one thing I think that
Praise God.
saved me. Look, I have goosebumps.
Yep.
That saved me in that ordeal. I guess I almost went into the pool again. Apparently I was having like a whole exorcism thing, but my friend who did it with me, nothing. Is that not crazy?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I think because when you still have that light in you, the demons and all the dark forces are going to come after you.
Mm-hmm.
And I think not enough people talk about like darkness and
Sure.
and it's there. And if you don't know it's there, then guess what? You don't have nothing to protect yourself. You can't go to war.
Well,
So
yeah, that's true.
but I like I also okay, so
You're going. It's both. It's both and.
but
You go to
when you
war,
said,
but
love,
you
but
receive
loving
love.
war.
You love that.
See, how do
you
I
love,
do that?
But you love war.
But
Maybe you.
how do we combat this as a Christian? Because
Okay.
I felt this struggle lately where I'm like, I just want so much love and peace. Like I don't want to even like go to, if that makes
exactly.
You know how they have this
100%.
go to war.
And I think that's a good thing to remember because
Okay.
I think a lot of people actually use war and warfare as a form of escape
Mm.
because they're so used to fighting for intimacy that they don't understand that they've exchanged intimacy for intensity. Wow. Because intensity is safer than intimacy because it's self-regulated. So it sounds wild, but like you look at couples fighting, right? And they're fighting. You're like, how is this couple staying together? It's been 20 years and they just treat each other like crap. And you're going, good Lord, what is going on? And that's because that is the language of intimacy that they know, right? That's the only language of intimacy that they speak. Wow. And even being angry actually releases endorphin, it releases dopamine and different chemicals. And so you're getting a reward for being angry. You know, even though you're going, no, I'm separating, we're fighting, we're doing whatever. Yeah, and that's why makeup sex is so violent and fun. Not that I'd know, that'd be sweet. I'm hoping to get there. I want to fight like, no, I'm just joking. But just teasing. Mostly, I think I'm like half joking about that. But there's rewards to all these things where we're going. Intimacy was not safe, so I have to create a substitute. What's the substitute look like? And the substitute looks like 100 different things. But that's why, like, going back to the warfare and all those, I think that you don't have grace for a war you're not called to fight. Mm. And so if you're trying to fight things that you don't have grace or capacity for, you're constantly going to be beat. And there's a lot of people that are in the emotional health realm, self-improvement realm, even the warfare realm that are actually not getting better. They're stalled because they're staying in a fight that they don't have grace for, or that doesn't transform them. It actually just keeps them in a perpetual cycle.
See, and that's what I thought because I'm like, okay, you have Jesus, your life is easier. And that's where I was kind of, that's what they say.
That sentence?
Life is easier.
Jesus, life is harder. I'm sorry, God.
Really? I think it's harder in some ways and some ways not.
That's fair.
Because you take it's almost like taking the burden off of yourself and
for
giving
sure.
it to
That's
him.
what it should be.
And then, but then you have this also responsibility of like, you can't go out numb and be like, but at the same time, like those things I don't want to do those things. It's crazy because it's like people like, oh, when you become a Christian, you get restricted. You don't have as much fun. And I'm like,
oh no,
bro, I have fun being sober. Like seeing everything differently and seeing the world is like fun, and seeing everybody that's like stuck in there. Yeah, it's fun, and it's sad sometimes too, because you're like, oh, they don't have it. I want them to get it. Especially with family and all that, especially the religious family. It's like, dang, you're not in that. What's the point of Jesus if you don't have love? I'm
so glad that you brought up that open tab. I knew there was an open tab in the back of my brain. I'm like, what were we going to talk about that we didn't talk about? And it was like religion.
Yes.
That's what we're going to do. It. It's so good. Well, you're totally right. But I think all those escapes, all the addictions, all the intensities, all that kind of stuff, it's like you don't escape a life that you love. And so all the things that we're discussing, you were talking about, like, I'm actually happier and more free now, even though I'm doing less of the things that I was doing before that are like considered wild. And it's because if you love your life, why would you want to separate from it? Which is what addictions and drugs and intensity and confusion is. So because a regulated person feels congruent inside themselves, they're like, I like this. This environment is fun. This environment is safe. This environment feels connected. And if I'm in this place, I can actually connect with you and I can connect with God. But if I'm separate from myself, I've not only separated from myself, but I've separated from everybody else. And I'm not even giving them the opportunity to be connected to me. What are we talking about? Religion. Let's talk smack.
Yes.
I shouldn't put that in the same sentence. But going back to religion, and there's a difference between the church and God, right?
Mhm.
But the church is representatives of God.
Right.
And one of the problems of the church is there's a lot of people that are medicating on God instead of being in a relationship with him. And again, it's because it's unsafe. So they might worship and pray all the time, thinking that's going to make them better or make their lives better. But God is a person. He's an entity. He's a personality, right? It doesn't mean those things aren't important,
Right.
but it's like warfare. Are you doing warfare because you want to be in war and you're trying to do it on your own strength? Or are you doing war because you're getting called to do something that's coming to the surface?
Right.
Right? It's different.
Yeah.
So
It's very hard to hear. I feel like sometimes that voice, because that's kind of the place where, like I had talked to my pastor, and she was like, you need some good mentors, some people that have been seasoned. You know what I mean? To kind of and I do believe that if you're on the walk with God,
fair.
it's so important to have people who are if you're not married, maybe somebody who's married, maybe have that kind of But sometimes it's I do feel like that struggle still sometimes of I'm like, should I do this? God, do you want me to do this right now? And I just really have to I feel like I quiet myself, and then I just feel calm, and I'm like, okay, it's hard to discern because I've lived that life of earning for so long that it's I still, am I being lazy now? Am I being too comfortable? Am I being, does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes total sense.
It's just and I know I'm still in that place of learning his love and hearing his voice. Yeah.
Right? The earning thing is so strong in our culture where even in church, it's a lot of times I think they use it almost not intentionally to manipulate us, but it does become a form of manipulation where they're still preaching the gospel of making your way towards God.
Yeah.
Instead of God had actually met us where we're at.
Yeah.
And if we allow God to meet us where we're at, which is why he died, he actually loves us where we're at and will actually will respond in love and innocence versus if I project onto him that I have to earn his love, what have I just made myself? I've made myself God and myself the Savior. One of the examples I always use with my client, I don't always use it, but I sometimes use it with my client, is I'm like, you're trying so hard to jump the Grand Canyon. So you keep running at this Grand Canyon, jumping as hard as you can and crashing down the cliff and then climbing back up and then doing it again. And it's because you learned from your dad or your mom that they were disconnected. So it didn't matter what you did, you were never going to get connection from them, right? So you internalize that you're not capable of connection and it doesn't matter how hard you try.
Is that even self-sabotaging?
100%.
Oh, because I feel like I used to be such a self-sabotager. Yeah, it's just funny how it's still something that comes in my mind where I'm like, I should do this for no reason at all. And I'm like, why would I do that?
Yeah.
I have to correct myself.
Yeah.
Girl, what do you that's interesting.
Well, and just to finish the metaphor, and then I'll get back to what you're saying is what I'm trying to tell my clients is what you don't understand is that Jesus and the people that you love are already on your side of the cliff. And when that dawns on you, you go, oh my God, all the efforts that I'm making are actually causing me to run away from what I want. It just becomes way easier. Self-sabotage. I mean, anyway, we could talk about self-sabotage. I'm curious what you thought self-sabotage was.
It's what are you doing, Alicia?
Yeah.
We'll save this for our session, Blair. No, I'm just kidding.
You're so magnanimous. You're so generous. You're so charismatic. You're so capable. You've done incredible things, even within the OnlyFans world. You're going to just say, hey, I'm going to pray the blood of Christ over the parts that are unshiny, right? And see who's left. An amazing person is left, even before you got saved. Right. So I don't want us to look at your past as being too judgmental with the lenses that the world has.
And that's what has. And that's what I love is I was looking at an old post and I'm in my truck, my booty shorts popping out, and I'm like, this Miami's so fake, and while I'm earning money just on OnlyFans,
this place is so plastic.
I'm like, this is so fake. While I'm showing off in my G-Wagon, right? Making money off my body, and I'm like, I said everyone's so fake here. Nobody has God. I'm like, bro, this picture.
Awesome.
I archived it, guys. Everyone's gonna go looking for it. It's gone. But I was just I sent it to my friends. I'm like, dude, this is hilarious because my heart was so hungry for God, but I didn't know what I was doing, but I knew I was kind of willing it. I'm like, I'm going to get out of it. I would go on podcasts and be like, but at least I was honest, because
Yeah.
these girls,
Yeah, you're
they
honest.
literally be like, Jesus, Jesus, and they have an OF page secretly, or they, or they,
Is that real?
oh yeah.
Wow.
Oh, there's a
That
girl
actually
that,
makes me a little sad.
there's a girl, oh my gosh.
Not that it's a judgmental thing. It's just like, that's hard.
No, it's hard because now I see it. And this is the same girl that told me I had demons. Same girl that came to my house. We both had demonic dreams, which she was right about that. If we were both having demonic, very sexual dreams, there was a demon. That's the first person that God uses all things for good. So even though this girl, very broken, OF page as well, talking about Jesus, listens to sermons all the time, but she is all religion. But God used her to open up my eyes.
Isn't it amazing?
And I was like, oh my God, spirits, demons. Like, I've been in the church, Southern Baptist, Catholic. Ain't nobody talked to me about demon. Now it makes sense why when I feel this thing, I feel this urge that I can't control. You know what I mean? I felt like I was literally being taken over, and I'm this sweet girl, but then I would go into this place. I was like, my thoughts were so dark, like, you know, when it comes over, when the spirit, whatever. But it's crazy how many people will use. And I think that's a dark place. At least I was honest. I was like, what I'm doing is the devil. I would tell people on the podcast, I'm working for Satan. And I'm thinking, I look back at it, I'm like, damn, she was honest. That's one thing I can't be fake. Even in my brokenness, I was very, what did we say, Jake? Very honest, fake. What did I say? I can't. Okay, it was funny. But I don't know where I'm going with this.
No, I think you're.
But the world is like, oh, you were saying about how I'm helping OF girls or something.
Well, I mean, you're talking about that girl again of like, she's doing this thing where she's like going with Jesus and then she's like back in OnlyFans page or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And it goes back to that recidivism, the going back thing that we were talking about earlier of like, you get freedom and then you go back to what you're used to. And I think that's the sad part. The sad part is we actually can't heal ourselves.
Yeah.
You know, even when he says like, physician, heal yourself, there's an irony to it of, I am always fascinated by the blind spots that the healers have in their own life. And I'll use myself as an example. I, on the regular, will have a revelation of something that I've walked 100 people through. And I'll go, what the hell? Because I have at least, you know, seen this so clearly in 100 people's lives. But like the fish doesn't know he's in a fishbowl. And I think that God hides our breakthroughs in other people because he loves relationship. So we are actually blind to our own lives. And so going back to what we were saying, I think this is part of the humility of when I'm working with God. I'm not saying I do this perfectly all the time, but like there is a humility to like, God, I don't know how to do this. Please help me. And not dictating the answer or the time frame. Because a lot of us are like, God, I want you to give me a husband, or God, I want you to heal my da-da-da, whatever. And we're basically dictating to God what he's supposed to do for us by our lens versus like, God, we're in a relationship. I'm telling you my need or my pain. Please help.
Or like me, I just stay away completely.
What do you mean?
Man's going to have to come and drag me by the hair. Come here, girl.
Yeah,
I'm like, I just stay away from them. I'm like, Jake and Blair is my only... Actually,
you're talking about guys?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But that's another thing. I use isolation as a lot of people do that.
Sure.
They use isolation as a form of like healing, or like, oh, I'm healed. But like I did that for the longest time. I just avoided everything. So I felt healed because I'm not being triggered. Because no man's pissing me off. Now Blair pisses me off all the time. And I'm like, oh, Blair, fix me. But you're the problem. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is funny because the one time I went in his office, I'm like, Blair, fix me. And he's like, how's
it going?
So, Alicia. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
I hate love. He's like, you are anyways, we've had so many funny moments. So I'm like,
that's awesome. Well, and you bring us.
We should have an open podcast on my.
Oh my gosh. Well, yeah, for one session. Well, one of the things you brought up is like, can you heal in isolation?
Yeah.
And I don't know if you can. I don't think we're designed for that.
Yeah.
I don't think we can go into like our closets and even pray our ways like in isolation out of whatever's going on. And
I think he gives you a period though sometimes.
Yeah.
Where you
he can heal us.
Yes, but I think also like isolation. I went for a long time.
Yeah.
My whole life pretty much isolating. But I feel like there is a little season where you aren't dependent on people and you kind of go to him, if that makes sense more.
I think you have to too. Also, if your lens is messed up when it comes to different people like men, you'll continually attract unsafe people into your world thinking that they're healing you.
Yeah.
So even if you like, let's say, come into the church world and you're like, you've been in, let's say, OnlyFans or something like that.
Yeah.
I've always attracted these unsafe men, and then I come into the church world, and lo and behold, I magnetize the crappiest, most manipulative men in the church.
Yeah.
Great. Now more men have taken advantage of me, and they represent God.
Yeah.
Right. So when your perspective on a type is a certain way, it's like we anticipate it and we magnetize it.
Yes.
And that's a bummer. So I understand what you're saying about like, we need the time to like sober up to like, hey, what's a good man?
Yeah.
I need to like refresh. I need a new lens.
Yeah.
And now that I know it, not only do I see it and I can see the other too, but then I also am attracted to it, and then I'm drawing it.
Yeah. And that's cool too, because I have another friend too that he's been coming to the church a long time, and he's a healthy one. And I'm like, yay. I have another friend who's like a healthy guy, respectable, church, like, just friends. Don't worry, guys. All the guys are like, oh my God, she's taken. No, I'm not taking.
I'm taking.
Not taking. I'm still here.
Still in my DMs.
I don't check
I'm
them
available.
I don't check them though. I got Lil
You don't
Wayne
check
in
'em for
there.
real?
I got some big
How
people.
many do you have? How many?
Oh my
I mean,
gosh.
DMs. How many DMs do you get on the regular?
I don't know, thousands probably. But I don't go on it anymore. I think I'm maxed. I'm thinking if you message me, it'll say.
Are you maxed out?
I'm
Like a voicemail?
Yes.
That's so cool.
I think, or maybe they fixed that. But
That's
it used to
crazy.
be
I got
maxed.
2 yesterday, so no big deal.
You don't check yours, but guess what?
I don't know.
We're gonna
I'm not
be
even on
posting
social
on that
media, but-
social media.
Yeah, I need to start a social media page.
I got you.
That would be smart.
I got you. I got
Yeah.
you.
Well, speaking of like, you don't see like the log in your own eye kind of thing. I'm scared of that stuff. Like
Social media.
Yeah, like what you do.
Why?
I'm just like, I'm super intimidated by it. I don't
Really?
know. It feels very vulnerable to me. It feels like, what is the word for it? It feels like revealing myself, not necessarily expressing myself. And I don't like that difference.
Oh, that's interesting.
Right. So like, I feel like there would be an exploitation quality to it for me at this point, where I'm like, I'm self-conscious and I'm like, whatever.
We are exploiting
versus-
you.
What?
You're being exploited right now.
Well, no, this is great. I love this. Versus like, hey, I just get to be myself and I get to express myself, and this is fun in social media. Right now, it doesn't feel like
Do you know what's funny about that? That you say that? This brings me being so nervous to meet up with my pastor. I was calling Jake.
Yeah. Well,
Like
for real.
having
I get
a
that.
freaking, but to me it's intimate. Like
Mhm.
to me, the internet, I could have 500, 1,000 people watching me. I can put on that
Why
front
is that?
and I can be cool. The second I'm sitting at dinner, I'm like, oh my gosh. She
Yeah.
knew I was nervous. She was like, it's okay. Just like, and I was, how you were kind of rushing in the stories, and I'm like going here, and I'm like, oh, I forgot this. And like, I felt so, you know what I mean? Because for me, intimacy one-on-one, somebody getting to know me personally is so hard.
Wow, we're opposite, and I love that. There's not a right or a wrong to it. It's just
I'll push you in the stage.
yeah, I could meet like President Obama or something like, and I'd be like totally calm. I'm like, he's just a dude.
Really?
Like anybody else, I'm totally like, it just doesn't do anything for me. And then I think about, I'm gonna post on social media to my 600 fans, and that's not a joke. Like that's I do not post, and I just straight up go, I don't like this. It feels uncomfortable with me. I feel like I'm faking it. It just feels not. It feels very uncomfortable for me.
But see, it is interesting because I have been getting that point where I can't just post to post. Like I used to just post to keep content, and now I'm kind of like, I feel like I want to post meaningful stuff from my heart. Jake said it perfectly. We were talking and he's like, Alicia, you're talking from your head, talk from your heart. And I was like,
ooh, well played.
I was like, ah.
Is that when you say, you shut the hell up, Jake?
Yeah,
You mind your own business.
I threw the mic at him.
Yeah, exactly.
And we
Why
had
does
to
he
cut
always
it
have
out.
bruises after you guys record? I mean, I was curious what the relationship is. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he always looks nervous when he's like, hey, did I say that right? Yeah, exactly. Well, and here's a cool thing, just to go back to like the two of you. What I will give both of you, and Jake is in the room, I think you all know that by this point, is you're so incredibly sincere and well-intended. There's no question about your morality or your intentions. And they're so pure and so warm, which is the reason that you can be what you called fake honest or whatever before, where it's like you can't help but be honest. It's who you are. Even when you were in that lifestyle, you're like, but I am who I am.
Working for the devil.
Yeah, exactly. And here,
The devil and a dollar. The devil and a dollar.
Yeah, and how sad. I mean, here's not that part sad, but I was thinking about the girl that you said went back to the OnlyFans even though she's a Christian. And the dollar thing of, if you don't anticipate being provided for, of having safety and connections and support, you will always revert back to your own responsibility.
The craziest part is she told everybody she got off of it, but she just she didn't actually delete her account.
Yeah.
She just, and I'm talking this girl's that got like 9 million. Like, I feel like I should just, am I the first one that's going to expose her? Should I just say her name? Should I?
No, don't do that.
You know who you are. No, I'm just kidding.
Here's what I will say that's kind of like going to go against the church.
Yeah, I'm not going to expose.
So I was in a coffee shop one time and I was hearing these people speak. Granted, they were Christian at the time, but like whatever, you know.
At the time.
Oh, I mean, this clip relates to the story.
Okay.
And so I was so annoyed by how they were talking. I'm like, God, you're turning everybody off. This is so stupid. You guys are so immature. What are you talking about? Like, they were just saying everything that just annoys people, right? Especially me. And I'm sitting there like, please shut up, turning up my volume. And I heard God whisper in my ear. He's like, I'm not upset about where they are. Why are you? And I think sometimes God is sitting beside us where we're at, and we're thinking that we need to be someplace else to be with him.
And like I said, he even used that girl in such a powerful way. And it's
That's exactly
God
right.
can use the broken. Like, actually moving to Nashville
Exactly
was somebody that told me about it who liked me, but I don't like them. But it was because of their idea.
There's a trend here. I got this guy friend. He's cool, but I'm not about it.
He loves me.
Yeah.
But he was the one that told me, Nashville. Like, God uses people that, you know, maybe aren't for your life, but they put things in your brain, and then all of a sudden I'm in Nashville. I'm like, what the heliante? I miss the beach and all my fake people.
Yeah.
all my hookers and drug dealers all over the park and pimps. For real. I'm like, I went in that's what I would do. I would hang out with pimps in the park and smoke. Not like I was in that lifestyle, but that's I think about my life in Miami. I'm like, it went by so fast, but it's like I was never present. I was just disassociated. And there's just so much going on. You can never sit still. So, like, it was right before I met you, I was like, I want to go back to Miami. All of a sudden,
you told me that.
I was like, I'm ready to go. Actually, I have a trip planned out. And I'm like, do I want to go? Now I'm at that point where I'm like, do I really want to go? Like, what's going to be the purpose, the point, you know? And there's still things I love about Miami. Don't get me wrong. But it's beautiful to have that healing where it's like, no matter where you are, you're happy. And that's what I was confused about, because I'm like, I used to be so happy. But God will bring things up. And it's not like, oh my God, demons are attacking me. A lot of people use it in the church. Oh, I've been attacked by Satan. And it's like, no, God's trying to bring that up to heal you from that part.
Exactly.
And it's like, I wouldn't have gotten God's love and met you if I hadn't been to that point of like, F this place. And I knew this was a pivotal point. I knew, like, I'm not going to go back to that old life, but like, what is this? Why can I be happy where I'm at? Whether it's
great.
Looking at a tree or the ocean.
Yeah. Mother tree. I'm just joking.
Mother tree.
Daddy ocean. No, I'm just joking. Yeah, I think you bring up, I like this because you brought up a point that I wanted to like get clear on before, which is, you know, we're talking about like when you have grace for a war or whatever it's called. You were saying like, I can be anywhere and I'm happy. And it's like, you're happy because anywhere that you go, there you are. Right? Versus you're disconnected from yourself. And the cool thing about God is he wants us to live. He doesn't want us to be in fix and solve mode. And so when we live, the things that are meant to be healed will naturally come to the surface. And when they do, there's grace for them. But what a lot of us are trying to do is we think that we're broken. We think that we're anxious. We think there's something wrong with us. So we're constantly trying to do surgery on ourselves when it's not time. And it's like trying to give birth at 4 months, or it's like trying to do surgery on yourself in the dark, right? It does not work. So the cool thing about God is he wants us to live. And then once in a while, things come to the surface, just like you said, or maybe a demonic thing comes to the surface or whatever. It comes to the surface, but when it does, you actually have all the grace in the world to handle it. It's like,
yeah, I threw up on the other Sunday, and I didn't think I had anything. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like sometimes God brings things up, and thank God I have the love that I have now. And I was just like, okay, I'm free. I'm happy. I wasn't like, oh my God. But what was you going to say?
Oh, no, nothing. It was
you were going to say something. I interrupted you.
No, you didn't interrupt me. No, it was just, I think in metaphors. So I was like, it's a difference between, if you think of a really big sandcastle, right? And it's trying to take down that sandcastle by having a teaspoon at a time, you know, and picking it apart, versus you placing the sandcastle in the middle of the river. And river just erodes it naturally.
Mm.
And so many of us are trying to do this hard work with a teaspoon or a Baskin-Robbins spoon in our hands, right?
Mm.
Those baby ones. And we're exhausting ourselves, and we're disillusioned with ourselves and with God, saying that we've tried everything, we've done everything, we've faced everything, we've done every deliverance, we've gone every, like, why am I not happier, healthier yet? And the reason is because we're trying to do it instead of living and allowing it to come to the surface and then getting help.
Wow. Guys, you better hit up Blair. I'm telling you, if you're ready, if you're feeling stuck in life, he does online. Like, you don't need to be in the same place. But he's been doing this. How many years have you been doing this? Besides that, your mom's a therapist, so you already
something like that.
So pretty much his whole life since his mom did it. But also
I'm 19.
But he does. He has so much like, and it's hard for me, especially being vulnerable. Like, since I've been so protected, and I was just so easy to. Like that first phone call, I just started crying, and it was like, it's like when there was no judgment, there was safety. And so if you are truly like at a point where you're feeling confused, lost, whatever, like he has in a month, guys, just a month, you guys have seen it probably every week, where I get more in peace, more in love, more in like, so if you really like hit him up, guys, like, oh my gosh, he has like changed my life. So, and I appreciate you, and God sees your heart, and you're going to be back on the stages in the church.
Oh, well, thanks. Yeah. Yeah. I don't even know how I feel about that. Can I say no? Just joking. But I will give both of you a compliment too. Like, I love the warmth and the depth that you guys have, especially in your eyes. So like the people that are listening at home, like, look at people's eyes. It's really important. And it's funny because you're going, there's warmth, there's kindness, and there's clarity. And to me, it's like that is healing. Healing is being in the atmosphere of people that are on the journey and they're authentic. So if you want to grow and be healthy, this is the place that you're supposed to be.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, it's true.
You have those eyes too.
Oh, thanks.
I feel so warm and cozy.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know what eyes you're looking
I'm going to take a little...
These ones, no, I'm kidding.
Yeah, they're just mischievous and, and rebellion.
He's trying to fix me.
I did that. Oh, yeah. I don't try to fix people.
I know.
Necessary. I don't ever.
No,
You know, he's really good. I'm telling you, no matter what you've been through, think about how much money, I say this to everybody, how much money we spend on our nails and things like that. Like, first off, and I love this about him, he's not going to be there forever. Like, I know I'm definitely, when we get done and I get healed, we're going to hang out. I'll be besties, but but it's not a forever thing, guys. Like, I know, like, but it's not a forever, like, I need to be with my therapist for 10 years. And it's good to do like a checkup. But with him, it's very like, here, like, change your perspective. Like, he gives you the tools and everything and works with you in like 2-3 months, whatever it takes. But your best investment is yourself. Like, the best thing you can do for yourself is connect with God and yourself. And so it's like, for me, this month before I go to Europe is like, I've been to the point where I want to be so present. I want to be so at peace. I want to be so in love. And it's cool because my sister's coming to Europe now with my niece and nephew and like everybody. And like this whole time I've been so disconnected because of the pain that I was in. I had to disconnect myself even from my niece and nephew and all of them. I feel like I couldn't be present. And now I'm in that place where I'm just like, I want to just love on them.
Come
and like,
on. I love that.
So it's like, take that time in your life. You've spent your whole life working on work, working on this. Like, take that time, a month, 2 months, where it's like, okay, I'm going to lock in with God, therapy. That's what I'm doing. And just, you'll see the results. What you put your time and energy into, you see the results. Or
this is dawning on me because I've always known you as this warm, personable person. But just hearing that, she is the ultimate hype man. Do you know what I mean? Like, ultimate charisma, promotional. You could sell anything, which makes me feel nervous because I'm like, is she overselling? But because you really are fantastic at it. It is fascinating. Like, just sitting here watching you for the last minute and a half, I'm going, this is mesmerizing. And maybe that's why your TikTok does what it does and all these other things, because it really, there is in a beautiful, not bad way, but like a hypnotic quality to it where it's like, this is just fascinating to watch.
I'm passionate.
And I know you're talking about me, but it's like in general it is.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
I'm very passionate, and it's
thanks.
true. Like, if something works for me, I want to tell the world about it. I'm like that annoying person.
That is true for you.
That I'm like, Blair, but it's true. Like, when you find the answer, and God, obviously, God and Blair, But it it's powerful when you start. And like you said, I want to be in my gifts, like you said, charisma, like, but about things that matter, things like I want to help people with, not like here's this 1099. You know what I mean? Like things that actually change people's lives. And I think that's where you get the happiness from being used by God in purpose. And you've changed my life forever. Like that's crazy.
Well,
people don't realize, like, just talking to somebody, you can change their life. Like everything we do, we can, if we are a surrendered vessel, it can be used by God.
Can I do one? I'm gonna do one promotional thing, and then I'll do one thing about them, if that's cool. This is self-promotional. I'm totally I admit it. But if you do want to say, hey, it's blairreynolds.consulting. That's my website. And we just launched a business this week called Entrepreneur Emotional Health. And did you not know?
No, I'm like
supplies. Yeah. Thanks for having me on, guys. That is actually true though. And the idea was, entrepreneurs are often people that are expressing themselves throughout the world. And if people get connected to themselves, then that expression becomes catalytic in a healthy way. And so it's really exciting because everybody wants to be an entrepreneur. Almost, you guys are both entrepreneurs, right? And so the idea of helping that world becomes healthy, and especially like instead of just excelling at business, they can actually be healthy with their families at the same time of being healthy at business.
Right.
That like wrecks me. That's so important to me because so often like we sacrifice our families on the altar of financial success. So, but here's the encouragement I was going to go that's outside of me, is the people listening. I think a lot of times they're going, well, she did it, or it's hard for me, or I've tried everything, or I'm disillusioned, or God hurt me, or I don't believe in God, or like all these different things. And I think one of our fundamental beliefs is you are healthy, you're whole, and you're capable of healing. Having in the back of your mind, like, I'm actually a really well-made person. God designed you incredibly. And if you think about who you're going to be in heaven, like fast forward 90 years, right? No anxiety, no confusion, no trauma, no panic, no self-protection, no broken relationships, no, all this stuff, right? No, exactly. It's amazing. And you have to reverse engineer and say, so that's my eternal self. That's the more powerful, substantive version of me. So anything that I've adapted to on this earth is actually just an adaptation, but it's not my permanent state. So I need to come into agreement with who I really am in order to express that person on earth. And you can.
Freaking love him. You see why we always talk about Blair? Do you see why he's the topic of conversation? I was like, we have to bring him in because people are probably like, who is this guy? Who is this angel from heaven?
He's this made-up person that we just reference when we don't want to take credit for something. I'm gonna say something really harsh.
But I call him my therapist, guys. So if you guys, we've switched it to Blair though, but therapist and Blair. But you see why, like, that was so powerful, and people need to hear that, and not enough people are being told that.
No, they're not.
Like,
no,
it's just
they're
like
being taught to fix themselves.
Yes, and even in the church.
What? Yeah, totally. Church too. But church is just people.
Yeah.
Right? That's the thing you got to keep going back to. Someday they'll get it right.
Someday we'll get it right.
Every church has their...
Hey, in Revelations, there's only 2 churches that survive, right?
Is that true?
It's probably going to be the belonging fire.
Yeah, that's so
I love
funny.
the belonging.
It's the belonging. That's great. Well, thank you. Thank you for having me on.
Guys,
really
please go hit him up. Like, do one session at least. For me, that's what I did. One phone call, and I was like, I'm sold. Not that you need to be sold, but I was like, wow, he really has changed my life in a lot of ways. And I'm a stubborn, hard-headed person. I'm not the easiest. Like, and he's like, I'm not that bad.
No.
Well,
she is Play-Doh. She is a soft marshmallow. You know, this will be my last point. I will really try to shut up after this point. But it's true. The people that are like, let's say, stubborn and whatever, they're almost always the softest centered people. They're the biggest hearted, most emotionally and tender. And the reason they have that hard shell is they actually had to protect themselves because they were so tender. So all those qualities that you just named, they're because of your kindness and the depth of your feelings.
See, guys, you're not stubborn a-holes.
You're not stubborn.
You just need to work on that yourself. Not really, but you need to hit up Blair.
Love yourself.
You need to hit up Blair. I'm telling you, like. So anyways, I'm not going to keep, you guys know where to find him. I'm going to post it on the links, and thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you, Jake. Good people.
Let's do a group hug. Okay, no, that was awkward.
Yeah, they're like,
Awkward.
or not. Yeah.
No love here. Just go love yourself.
Get hurt. This is the time where you attack us during the house.
We gotta shut off the cameras for this.
That's funny.
PTSD.
Ah,
Oh
all right,
my gosh.
everybody. Yeah.
All right, thank you for watching, guys. Please comment. Please share if this has helped you. Share it to somebody that it can help. Subscribe, like, comment. I think I said that already, but you know what to do. Love you guys. Mwah. And God loves you.